All right, come on in, everybody. Welcome back to the Holler. TNHoller.com is where you can find us at the TN Holler on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. We also have hollers hollering all across the state. Thanks to your support. We really appreciate it. Chip in a few bucks monthly. Grab a holler hat if you can. Couple shout outs. Quick shout out to Elisa Parker. If you're buying or selling a home in Middle Tennessee, do it through her. She's very supportive of us. And if you need a lawyer, Abby Rubenfeld is who you should check out. She's awesome. And then if you need a coffee, Ongo Java is a new sponsor of ours. And you should definitely get your coffee there, order some from you. Holler code and save 50%. All right. It's been a little while. We had fall break. Haven't done an interview in a little bit. I'm sure you guys are anticipating the election coming up. And today we have someone who's running in the Chattanooga area for State House. Kathy Lennon is here to join us. Kathy, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm good. How's the campaign feeling? How's everything going down there?
It's
I've talked to a bunch of people and they're pretty excited about what you're doing. So tell us a little bit.
Thank you. I'm pretty excited too. 17 days countdown. Early voting started Wednesday. I don't know about where you live, but our polls everywhere I went were just packed, which I am excited about. I want voters to get out. I am doing everything I can to meet all my neighbors in District 27, and I'm hearing positive things. I'm hearing that it's time for a change in Tennessee. That we're tired of being at the bottom of everything: education, healthcare, medical cannabis. The list can go on and on and on. So it's really, for me, it's great to hear that so many people they don't feel like they're being listened to by their elected officials right now. So I feel like that's why I'm getting good reception at the door, because I am basically listening to what they're saying and I agree with them and I want to do something about it.
So people can go check out votekathylennon.com. I was down in Chattanooga for an event that I spoke at, you were there. And one of the things that you talked about that I think more Democrats should be talking about, and I just want to give you a chance to talk about it a little bit here, is the marijuana issue. I think legalizing medical marijuana or marijuana in general is something that a lot of people in Tennessee on both sides of the aisle want to see happen. Recently, Kamala Harris just said nobody should be in prison for smoking weed. She has said that she's going to make decriminalization a focal point of what she does when she gets up there. Talk a little bit about your position on marijuana.
Exactly. Thank you so much for asking that question. Um, I don't know if you've kept up with the legislation, the bills that were passed, but in April of 2023, they passed a decent bill, and it was good. It was we're all about safe regulations, testing, making products. The biggest problem in Tennessee is the black market. We want to remove the black market and get them out of the way so that our consumers can have a safe product, and it's a viable option for treatment for so many people. We have an opioid crisis going on in Tennessee, and medicinal cannabis is something that truly people rely on, and I want to use that versus getting addicted to opioids. So go back to the bill of 2023. It was passed, became law in May of 2023 by Governor Lee. Then all of a sudden, Tennessee Department of Ag decides that they want to change it. It's kind of caused pretty much of a turmoil in the state of Tennessee, because basically what they're trying to do is they want to remove all smokable flower off of the shelves, which will kill the industry itself. Um, I don't think that that's necessary. And I think it's important that all of our constituents, that everybody knows this, because, like you said, it is an issue that is bipartisan. 80%, I think it's even changed. The last poll that was done, it was over 80% of Tennesseans want to see a medical cannabis bill passed. The amount of jobs that it will create, the revenue, the economic impact that it will have on our state is amazing. It would help us with education. It would help us with healthcare, mental health, infrastructure, roads. So to me, that is something that I do want to bring to Nashville. I think it's important We're one of 12 states, Justin, that does not have a medical cannabis bill. That's it's unacceptable. And why they keep fighting it and why they keep pushing back, I honestly do not know.
Well,
But they are.
I have a suggestion of why. I mean, I think all this stuff is interrelated, but we've seen, private prisons support Republican
Yes.
candidates. The governor is a fan of private prisons. We
Yes.
have 4 of them in our state. We're only constitutionally supposed to have 1. And one of the ways that they continue to fill up the prisons is by, putting people away for nonviolent drug offenses. So, it's this circle of private prisons donate to campaigns of Republican legislators who then run to
Exactly.
criminalize and fill our prisons, and around they go. And there's this like circle of corruption. So, on that note, what can you tell us about, who has been supportive of your campaign? Are you getting big dollar PACs, or are you getting a lot of small dollar donors?
I am grassroots. I'm boots on the ground, getting all of my donations from. I have gotten a few endorsements from IBEW. Not, I'm sorry, from the labor unions, and that which has helped my campaign. But most, the I would say 90% of my donations is grassroots, boots on the ground.
Can you talk a little bit about the union part of this? I know Chattanooga just had a big victory, UAW
Yes,
in
yes, we did.
Volkswagen.
Yes, we did. And I actually was at the bargaining. I went to the bargaining rights when they had that a couple. I had no. It was amazing the support and how important that the unions are for all of us. Um, it's a different path. It's a What I don't think people realize is that not everybody has the same pathway to go to college, and a union provides so many opportunities for everybody in our community to, if they want to be a welder, an electrician, a carpenter, that they provide that opportunity for people to get involved, to get a job. And while they're getting trained and they are going to school, they're earning income, they're learning a trade, they get to go, they get health benefits, they get um the 401k plans. It's just, my eyes have truly been opened by attending a lot of these union meetings of everything that they are doing for our community, and I'm quite impressed with it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like any candidate that doesn't stand with unions doesn't stand with workers, and
Exactly.
it's a pretty good way to tell who is fighting for the people and who's fighting for, the bosses, for lack of a better term. I mean, I got no problem with running a business, but when management, doesn't want to give people what they deserve, doesn't want to give people raises, doesn't want to pay people a living wage, doesn't want to give people health care, and at the end of the day, what that ends up turning to is, they talk about welfare. That's corporate welfare, because you've got
Exactly.
corporations like, Walmart, that have employees that are leaning on the government to supplement their income. So what are some of the other issues that you're finding people are caring about?
The big issue is education. There are so many people that they want to make sure that every student in the state of Tennessee receives the quality public education that they deserve, as well as supporting our teachers. Our both students and teachers are at, I want to say, 42 and 45 at the bottom end of receiving support for students and teacher pay. We have to do better. Education is too important. We cannot let we have to keep public dollars in public schools. The voucher system does not work. Look at Arizona. Just check it out if you think that you believe in the voucher system. It is not working. I don't know any place actually where it's working. And the voucher program that um, if a student receives a voucher and they have an IEP, um, an individual education plan for students with disabilities, they're not going to get accepted at a school because the schools aren't going to accept just any student. Plus, voucher program, the kids have to provide their own transportation. And if we really are about helping students, then we would make sure that they had transportation. The lunches, it's not going to pay for their lunches. We need to make sure that every student in Tennessee has the nourishment they need to make it through the day, that they have the resources that they need. And we need to make sure that our teachers in the classrooms have the exact same resources and the equal pay that they deserve to be a teacher. If you look at it right now, the state of Tennessee, we're losing teachers. They're going to Georgia, they're going to other places because they're frustrated. It's not that they do not love teaching, they love teaching. I taught for 25 years. I loved it. There was not a day that I could literally, I could not say I learned much more from the kids that I ever taught them. And I know that teachers, that's why they go into the profession, because they love it. And right now they're not being valued. They're not being respected. Their government is trying to tell them what they need to do in the classroom. And that is unacceptable. I mean, they don't do that with any other profession.
Right. And so I take it you're not for vouchers.
No,
Who are you
no,
running against?
we don't have any more slices of the pie to slice up when it goes to education.
Who's
Again,
your opponent?
my opponent is, who is my opponent? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yeah.
Her name is Michelle Renault. Michelle Renault is a conservative Republican. She did unseat Patsy Hazelwood, and she's complete opposite from me. She,
Right. From what I've heard, she's pretty extreme.
she's pretty extreme.
Do you want to give any examples of that, or should we just let it sit?
I mean, I think a good example is gun safety. You know, the guns. She believes that everybody should have. She's a constitutional gun carry. That we don't need to have any more red flag laws. In fact, that we need to be more lax on our laws to give gun owners more opportunities to protect themselves, when in fact that's not helping keep communities safe. And we all know that based on the last year's unfortunate Covenant shooting. And we don't need to arm teachers in the classroom. You know, we need to make sure that our guns are locked up and stored properly. We need to make sure that we have the ERO, the Protection Act in place, so that that those that are that have a mental illness do not have access to guns. We need to make sure that that is in place. And I don't think, but I also, I'm going to say I'm going to protect the Second Amendment rights for responsible gun owners. My son is a hunter, and I'm not going to take that away from him. But I don't think that we need to have guns in cars, because what are they doing? They're getting stolen out of cars, and then they're being used. Just the recent shooting in Georgia, and this is an example of Tennessee not having stricter gun laws. The parent bought the gun for the student. That parent was arrested and held responsible. That would not happen in Tennessee.
That's a good point. One of the things that just happened yesterday was we just saw a judge ruled that some exceptions were added to Tennessee's abortion ban. What are your feelings about Tennessee's abortion ban? And do you think your opponent would join them in refusing to allow abortion exceptions, even for raped children?
You know, I don't know if she would, I don't know how far that she will go. I do know that she is pro-life. She stressed that, but she did say that she does want to look at some exceptions. I don't know if that's one of them.
Okay.
I do not. I strictly 100%. Government does not need to interfere with women in their health care decisions. It is, you know, that is unacceptable. Um, in every instance that you can think of, it's wrong. And for my opponent, I don't know what she thinks about this new one. I do know that she is unabashedly pro-life, but to what extent, I do not know. I'm not going to answer for her on that. I would hope that she would want to put something, if a child is raped, that would be that. But again, it doesn't even need to be part of the discussion. We should not be able, that doctors need to have this relationship with their patients, and that is a decision made by the patient and the doctor. We're putting the doctor at risk and the patient at risk.
One of the other issues that our legislature meddles in way too much, Cookeville, we just posted a story today that Cookeville, their Christmas parade is now forcing people to sign a statement of faith that includes, a commitment to the Bible and Jesus, and that marriage is between a man and a woman, and life begins at conception. And that, trans people don't exist. And this is their
Wow.
Christmas parade. They're
Wow.
taking their cues from our legislature. We have the most anti-LGBTQ
Wow.
bills in the entire country. What are your feelings about the legislature and the way that they meddle in people's lives?
I do not agree with it at all. We all need to live, learn, work, and worship safely. Period. End of discussion. We don't need to meddle in that. Everybody. I had the conversation this morning with somebody at the door, and I'm we have to quit passing judgment. Why don't we focus on how we're going to help people with affordable health care, and how are we going to help families that don't earn enough to put food on on their table? Why don't we focus on things that really matter to Tennesseans? Education is one of them. We don't need to interfere with the church. I thought there was a separation of church and state, Justin. I didn't think
Not
that they
around
were.
here.
I didn't think that they were supposed to meddle in anybody's business. I mean, we have such an amazing, diverse community, and everybody gets to bring their gifts to the table, and let's embrace all of them. Let's not judge people for who they are and the lifestyle that they choose. That's not for a politician or a legislator to make laws about.
Well, the separation of church and state that you talk about is not something that the people who control the state believe is a thing. So when you get up there, you'll see pretty quickly that they don't agree that that's a real thing.
I
and
know, and I
you know,
agree. And everybody always says, "What are you going to do?" And can I do anything by alone by myself? No. But if we start, how long have we had a super majority in Nashville, Justin? I was 13, 14 years,
something like
maybe.
that, yeah.
Okay, so it's time to break that. And I feel like I truly believe that if we can make progress and start having more Democrats elected, we can start having bigger, deeper conversations, work across the aisle, and start talking about these um, issues like church and state, abortion, and come up with some solutions. We don't need to be so. Right now, we're too divided. You cannot solve anything when you have a supermajority. That's just my opinion. Is it going to be easy? No, but nothing that is worth working for is ever easy, in my opinion. And I think it's worth it. I think it's worth having those hard conversations about reproductive rights, gun safety, education, separation of church and state. And it's going to take a while, but let's start somewhere. And I think and again, I'm going to go back to I don't think the people are being listened to, because I don't, in my heart, and I could be wrong, I don't think everybody feels the same way. Is that statement that you just put up, was it from Crossville or Cookville? About
Cookville.
surely not everybody in Cookville feels that way. I would never enter that. I would not be a part of that.
Sponsored by the city, so we're gonna find out, and
Yeah.
also supposed to be aired by local PBS. We'll see if they continue to carry it. I have a feeling that story is not done. We just posted it a couple
Okay.
hours ago, so we'll see what happens. She's votecathylennon.com. Go to her website to check out more about what she's up to, what she believes. She's got some statements, and it's a lot of positivity, and seems like would be a better choice than the extremists that she's running against. So, Kathy, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate you coming on here. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. So that is Kathy Lennon in the Chattanooga area. Check her out, votecathylennon.com. And before I let you guys go, I just wanted to talk about one thing that happened this week that I feel like I owe a little bit of an explanation about. We held a quote unquote debate in Franklin with Gloria, and we invited Marsha Blackburn. And, genuinely we're hoping that she showed up. Genuinely would have hoped that other outlets had done this, because in Georgia, when David Perdue refused to debate John Ossoff, they had an empty podium and they held the debate anyway. But here in Tennessee, the Tennessean, WBIR, all the outlets that were thinking about holding a debate, they just didn't when Marsha said she wasn't going to show up. And that didn't seem right to me. So for months, we tried to pressure other outlets to do it. They didn't do it. And then on the first day of early voting, we decided, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and do it. So a month ago, we invited Marcia and Gloria. Gloria said yes. First, we were going to do it at City Hall. Then that didn't work out. So we ended up at the Williamson County Administration Complex just to make it as easy for Marcia to show up as possible. Again, Gloria accepted, gave Marcia weeks to respond, announced it, said it's going to happen anyway, said there will be a podium for her. If she had said, you know, I can do it this day and not that day, we would have adjusted. And so for weeks, we were gearing towards doing this. Marcia and Gloria, Republican and Democratic candidates, at the Williamson County Administrative Complex. MLK 50 Memphis came on board and joined us to co-sponsor. Harriet Wallace was going to be the moderator. And then the day before, we got a message from an independent candidate that I did not know even existed, named Pam Moses. And at that point, we're a day before the event. Gloria has agreed to a debate with Marcia. In the past, and this is what I wanted to show you guys, in the past, 2018, Marcia debated Bredesen. There were 8 candidates in the race, but only Marcia and Bredesen were on the debate stage. So there is precedent for just having the Democrat and Republican debate. And I know I'm not breaking any news to you when I tell you guys that. The candidate that reached out had not raised a penny, hadn't even seemed to have filed the financial paperwork. I had not heard. I mean, I follow this stuff pretty closely. I did not know she was. I knew of her because of a story back in the day, but I didn't know she was running. So the day before, it just didn't seem right to suddenly spring that on Gloria. So we just went to the event and we were going to hold the event as billed. Well, Pam showed up and was very aggressive right away, demanding to be on the debate stage. You know, I explained what had happened, that I didn't know she had been running, that when I did hear about it, I looked it up and she hadn't raised a penny, and it just felt like we wanted to have the 2 viable candidates. She made the point that it shouldn't be about money. It's not a bad point. I mean, it's a valid point, but to me, that's about effort. And if you haven't raised a penny and you're not even filing the paperwork and you're not sending out mailers and you're not doing, like, we wanted this to be between the 2 viable candidates, just like the Tennessean did in 2018. So again, now I'm going to flash this again because I think it's important. The Tennessean, they didn't invite all 8 candidates in 2018. They invited Marcia and Bredesen to the 2 debates that they had. Pam made a bit of a scene, then sat down for about a half hour, 45 minutes. We had, you know, the quote unquote debate, which was really like a town hall with Gloria, which you can see on the site. The stream is still there. And then after about 40 minutes, Pam decided, you know what, she's tired of sitting still. And she stood up and made a scene, made it about her, started yelling about getting on the stage, you know, insisted on going up on the stage. I said, go, you know, say what you got to say. She sat down kind of near Gloria and, you know, started ranting, and Harriet handled it very well. I thought, you know, I said, come on the holler. It didn't feel right in the moment when Gloria had accepted to come and debate Marcia to then spring that on Gloria when that's not the event that Gloria signed up for. So I was kind of between a rock and a hard place, whether I, you know, just force Gloria to sit down and have this happen, or say, no, that's not the event that we're having here. And so I figured, okay, an alternative might be to just have her come on the holler, which, by the way, the open invitation. Pam is welcome on the holler. Happy to have her on here. Would love to talk to her. It just didn't feel right to change the event midstream like that because someone aggressively came and decided to start yelling about it and insist. So that happened. Now, you know, Jeremy Faison and Jody Barrett are having a field day with their posts about it. And, you know, which is understandable. But I do want to say that I appreciate them bringing attention to the fact that Marsha Blackburn won't debate and hasn't had a town hall in 7.5 years. So thank you guys for highlighting that fact, for resharing our videos, for letting people know that Marsha Blackburn is refusing to debate, because that's the net result of what you guys are doing by trying to have your little gotcha moment with me. And again, I'd like to point out that the Tennessean in 2018 did not invite all 8 candidates. They only invited Marcia and Phil Bredesen. So I'm assuming you have an issue with that also. And then the idea that you're somehow going to bring up the fact that we didn't let her speak. I mean, all you guys do is cut mics and expel people. So that part is genuinely hilarious. I mean, you literally expelled 2 young black Democrats who were duly elected because you didn't like what they had to say and you didn't like how they said it. So, all due respect, you're not the messengers for this message. And you're kind of pantsing yourself, Jeremy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.